Well, all summer long, we have had the preaching series, Creation Sings. We have been learning about God through mountains and rivers and oceans and birds and rain and all kinds of things from nature. And today our theme is Animals Sing. Many of you have shared with us some pictures of yourselves with animals, and I will look forward to showing those to you at the offering time. I submitted a video. So when you see this video, what's happening is I was on my internship, and I was recording a sermon outdoors, and it was the pandemic. They were all like that. But I thought it would be really cool if I had a horse in the background. So keep an eye on that horse. Edward would face two notable knights on his rise to glory and riches. The first one is Count Ottomar. He's the bad guy, the enemy. In fact, he even humiliates. Whoa! Well, some people asked me last night if the horse had kicked me. No, it was more like a hip check. But what do you think that horse was trying to say? Maybe, loosen up, Lisa. Or, move over, this is my space. Or how about, here, let me help you make that point about humility, preacher. Well, whatever it was, it sure got my attention. Animals have a way of doing that, don't they? They nudge us. They interrupt us. They remind us that we're not the only ones in the story. And sometimes we need that. Because if we're honest, we all have moments when we're a little like Balaam. Remember Balaam? He was so wrapped up in his plans, so wrapped up in his outrage, that he completely misses what's right in front of him. His faithful donkey sees what he doesn't see. But instead of being grateful, Balaam lashes out. He mistreats the very one who's been carrying him all along. Sound familiar? We do it too sometimes, don't we? We get swept up in frustration at the news, at work, even the little daily irritations. And when that happens, who do we usually take it out on? Those who are closest to us, the ones who have been carrying us faithfully. And I'm just as guilty as anyone. Sometimes I can come home and I've got something stressful on my mind, and then I might seem distant or short with my poor spouse who's unsuspecting and surprisingly can't read my mind. But bad day at school, you take it out on mom and dad. Problems at work, you take it out on your coworker. You get the idea. But lately, it's not just the little things, is it? We're carrying real fear, real grief, and real anger at what's happening in our communities. It's been a difficult week. We feel heavy with it, and we wonder, where is God in all of this? Even in our outrage, even in our grief, God does not leave us alone. The good news is God interrupts. Just like God opened Balaam's eyes, God can open our eyes too, to see past the chaos and into his faithful love. That love comes to us in Jesus Christ. In our gospel reading, God sends a message through, it said a colt in that reading, sometimes it says a donkey, but through a donkey. The kind of king who rides in on a lowly, humble donkey is the kind who defeats evil with love and sacrifice, not power and might. Jesus enters into our brokenness gently, with mercy and peace. Well, donkeys aren't the only animals mentioned in the Bible. Jesus used lots of animals to teach lessons, like foxes, birds, oxen, snakes, goats, and pigs. But most often, Jesus referred to his people as sheep and to himself as our good shepherd, the one who gathers frightened sheep, who walks with us through dark valleys, and who leads us beside still waters, who restores our souls when the world feels like it's falling apart. So, friends, here's the invitation. What if, in those moments when fear and frustration rise, you paused and prayed, Jesus, help me see with your eyes? Because Jesus is not far away. He rides humbly into our lives. He walks alongside us as a shepherd. He knows what it's like to be surrounded by violence and anger. And still, he brings peace. He brings love. He brings life. So as we leave summer behind, let's remember God's fingerprints are everywhere, just to show how much he cares. The idea of Creation Sings has been to look up and to look around. We see God's love in the majesty of the mountains. We see God's love in the Spirit blowing like the wind, bringing people together in mission. And we see God's love in Jesus, our shepherd who leads us gently beside still waters, through green pastures, and yes, even the darkest valleys. And sometimes, God's love comes the same way that it did at the start of this message, through a nudge, through an interruption, through a reminder that God is in our story. Every nudge, every interruption is pointing us back to the shepherd who restores our souls, who opens our eyes, and who leads us in life. And because Jesus is our shepherd, we can trust that goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our lives, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There's no better reason than that to sing. Praise be to God. Amen.